giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Oh, yeah. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live, presented by Boston Scientific. We streaming live on YouTube and Facebook, and of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! Yes, indeedy. Pencils down. We don't got to speculate no more, ladies and gentlemen. Your 2023 Dallas Cowboys draft class is here. It's complete. We're going to dive into it for the next couple of weeks, for sure. We're going to see how this new blood intertwines with this current roster, which, by the way, let's not forget, this roster is already better than it was last year. You already have one of the best teams, I think, in the NFC, and we're going to see how these guys added this past weekend can help you. Now, throughout the coming weeks, right, we'll do our rating the draft series, one of my favorite series to break down each prospect individually, going into extreme detail. We'll do that. But today is more about the general overview of what we're going to talk about. A general overview of this draft class, how they may fit, just kind of their, on the surface type of situation, right? And I know a lot of people, by the way, shout out to the Bomb Squad.
Bomb Squad!
Y'all was rocking with me this weekend. Y'all was rocking with me and Foots and Vach, and all the other content creators. Pat on the back for y'all. Salute to y'all. Y'all made this thing a lot more fun, even when we were trying to avoid the chat during the actual picks. It was still fun. I had a good time. And now it's just about doing extra homework. It's that extra credit of diving into the specific picks that the Cowboys have made, which I absolutely couldn't wait to do. And we'll be doing that from since the picks were made all the way probably up until rookie minicamp, and then all the way till we get to training camp, which will be out there again. So a lot of people, I don't do grades. Y'all know that. I'm not really a big grade type of guy. I like to do ratings. We'll rate the draft in a different way. That's how I try to stand out when it comes to the draft. And I'll explain that more in detail once we get to the rating and draft series. But I did notice on the Twitter sphere, I did notice on YouTube, everywhere else, mixed reviews, right? A lot of fans are in their bag one way or another about the draft. There's a couple quotes that I like, and I'll read some off here. Life is about perspective and how you look at something. Ultimately, you have to zoom out, all right? And then there's another one. Your perspective will either become your prison or your passport. And I'm here to tell you right now, a lot of y'all is going to be your prison if you continue to view things a certain way. I say take a step back. I say look at the totality of the draft class of your team. Look at the theme that they've drafted in, and I think you'll come away with this thing feeling okay. I'm not saying you got to feel great. I'm not saying you got to blindly think this thing is the greatest thing ever. But I do personally believe the Cowboys came out of the draft checking all the boxes that they needed from a positional standpoint. It may have not looked like the way you or I wanted it to look like, but they at least did that. And I think they did a good job coming out this weekend, getting what they needed to get. And now let's see if those guys can fit. Again, we'll break it all down. We'll see if they can fit right now or when they can fit, et cetera, et cetera. But just take that quote. Your perspective will either become your prison or your passport. And look, whether you agree or not, Jerry, Will, Steven, Big Mike, this is what they're saying to you. They're looking you dead in your eye.
Man, who gives a shit?
Hey, they don't give a damn. All right, look, let's get into the roundup, and we got a little bit of house cleaning, basically post-draft house cleaning. We're gonna talk about. All right, let's do it right now.
It's time!
Time.
It's time.
It is time for
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Hey, yo. So after the draft, the day 3 draft presser is usually the most interesting because all the picks are made, and now we can hear from Jerry, Steven about, well, what did you miss out on? You know, is there going to be anything you're looking at right now since you didn't draft it? Kicker is one of them. Kicker is a position a lot of y'all was like, hey, let's get, is it Jake Moody? I think is his name, from Michigan. They decided not to do that. They decided to bypass the kicker. And this is what Jerry said. He said, quote, we'll be looking at a veteran kicker. And the biggest name on the market is Robbie Gould. Last year he was 27 of 32 in the regular season, but he has yet to miss a field goal in his postseason career. He's 29 of 29, 21 of 21 in San Francisco, which is the definition of clutch. And we saw how important being a clutch kicker last year could be for the Cowboys with a couple misses. Actually, a miss in the San Fran game and 4 misses in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. So we'll keep an eye out on what they'll do at kicker. I'm hoping it's a little bit better than it was with Hallelujah and Maher. Now, Maher worked out, so clearly that worked. But they didn't bring Maher until late, I believe, in training camp. And it was like Hallelujah and the kid that they signed in the undrafted free agency. That was and in fact, they cut him, I feel like, before they even got to camp. Maybe as they got to camp. Can't quite remember. But nonetheless, kicker is a position that is extremely important, and we'll keep an eye on what happens there. They just not closing this door on Zeke, huh? They just not going to do it. So the Cowboys came out of this draft with a running back, and we'll talk about that running back for sure. However, this was Jerry's quote on Zeke returning. They asked him about Ezekiel Elliott returning. He said, that ship has not sailed. We haven't made a decision. We've obviously drafted a running back, a little different style than Zeke, but it doesn't change. For us, as far as our interest in Zeke, nothing we did today changes that. Look, I actually like the talent mix in the running back room. Tony Pollard, Deuce. I can't wait till we hear that a lot. Rojo. Then you got, Davis, Rico Dowdle, and was it Lupke? I can't remember how to say his name. The fullback that they signed as an undrafted free agent. All those dudes will compete. Here's my only thing about the Zeke thing. I feel like if Zeke was to return, we could see politics robbing a guy like Deuce Vaughn at a chance to be a part of this offense. That's all I'm going to say. I personally think you've got a quality mix of the traits you need to have a productive rushing attack. I do. I don't think you're missing any trait in that room. Now, if you want to say, well, we could use a more consistent power guy. We don't know about Ronald Jones, so you want to bring Zeke back. Well, can you guarantee me that politics won't get in the way? Guarantee me politics won't get in the way. I'll sit at the table and have a discussion. But if politics are going to get in the way, I won't even come to the table. Don't even send me an invite. So that's all I'm going to say about that one. And then finally, kind of the first block of today's show is the theme of this draft, which I think is versatility. It's not as fun in regards to the name as last year. Last year, I dubbed that draft the Attitude Era, which actually started, in my opinion, with drafting Michael Parsons. But the way the Attitude Era kind of started was, Stone Cold kind of starting that whole thing. And then it was just an onslaught of different characters that came through and storylines that came through. But I think this draft is not as sexy as that draft in regards to the theme, but it is a versatile draft, Cowboys Nation. So I'll run down a little bit why I think it's versatile. I think they're looking at guys here that are good at one thing with the upside or ability to be good at the other. Let's kind of go through here. Most of this class, like I said, is a very versatile one. So I want to talk about most of them in a general way. Again, we're going to break down these dudes in a very detailed way in our rating series. And obviously we'll talk to a lot of y'all on the phone and whatnot about it as well. But I kind of want to just generally look at this draft class. Most of these guys who I believe have versatility in their game or that comes with them, or at least that's what the Cowboys are looking at. And you start at the top with Mozzie Smith. Mozzie Smith is a dog. When it comes to run stopping, he is one of, if not the best run stopper in the draft. But they think, and I believe this as well, he can affect the quarterback from the interior too. And I'm not saying that's what he's going to do first. You know, that's just something that's going to be developed as he comes along. They talked about tweaking his get off, tweaking his stance. And if you look at his stance, it's very square, and it's just the way they played there at Michigan. And one of the things that Coach Floyd said, and I kind of want to hold on to this until tomorrow, so maybe I'll do that. I'll hold on to this till tomorrow. We'll see. When we're going to do, I think tomorrow we're going to do rating and draft Mozzie Smith. He said something very important there that I think makes this pick even better to me, but we'll get into that tomorrow. But nonetheless, Mozzie Smith as a versatile guy, he may not look like it, all right? When you look at his stats, when you look at his actual responsibilities at Michigan, he's a run-stopping dude. But his athleticism, one of the freakiest athletes pound for pound in the draft, maybe the freakiest athlete pound for pound in the draft. You want to talk about strength. I mean, look, he may not be 6'6". What is Jordan Davis? 6'6", 150 pounds or something. But Mozzie Smith is ridiculously strong. So strong they had to change things in his weight room down there at Michigan. And that strength is on display on the field. So just know, I think Mozzie Smith is going to be a guy that's more versatile for the Cowboys than many people think. I kind of been thinking that before they drafted him, they got him here. You heard them talk about they're going to work with him, not just in the run game. So I think you got a versatile guy there. Schoonmaker. I was getting that wrong forever. Luke Schoonmaker. When Luke was picked, we were extremely surprised if y'all saw the reaction from me, Vach, and Foots. We had, me and Foots, I don't know where Vach had him, but me and Foots had him as a late third / early day 3 guy. He went in the second round. But from a versatility standpoint, he's a ready-made run blocker that has that receiving upside that they haven't really tapped into in Michigan, which, for Big Ten schools, specifically Michigan, they tend to do that. Kind of Stanford, like, with Dalton Schultz, where you saw the run blocking, you saw some potential as a pass catcher, but they don't really do that much at that school. Same thing with Luke Schoonmaker. A guy who is coming right now, be a versatile run blocker. When we were talking on air, somebody had mentioned, oh man, he'll do some fullback things. I was like, nah, man, they're probably going to use him more, as a starter or as a tight end too, in line or split, because they talked about him doing some split things. Well, Coach McCarthy came out and said, yeah, we're going to use him at all 4 positions at the tight end spot. So they're going to probably split him out, have him in line, have him at H-back, use him at fullback. They're going to move him around. And he showed that he can do some of those blocking things moving around. But the versatile part comes in the pass catching. Like you see the potential as a pass catcher. You see the fluidity. Obviously, he has the athleticism with the RAS score. He was actually the top RAS score we put coming out of the combine when we did our review. It was Schoonmaker. It was Kuntz and then it was Schoonmaker. So I think there's potential to be a versatile guy there. Then you look at Demarion Overshown, 3rd round pick out of Texas. Former safety right away. That just showed you how versatile he was or he is in college. I wrote on Twitter, I think Overshown is a developmental weapon, meaning all these guys are going to develop. That's clear. But he's a converted safety, number 1. Number 2, he's still learning the position, but he has ridiculous traits right now that Quinn, who is a weird, mad scientist, I think he can use him to be a weapon. Now, if he's not a weapon on defense today, Bones Fossil damn sure going to use him as a weapon on special teams. This is a seek and destroy type guy. This is a missile type guy. And I think you could potentially see him be a versatile guy in the sense of getting to the quarterback, dropping back a few times, and just being all over the place. He did the interview and he said, yeah, they looked at me when we had our discussion as a guy that they could use my traits to come forward and get after the Q. Not saying he's going to be a full-time pass rusher, but a blitz type guy. So there's another example of versatility. Junior Fayeoko, 4th round pick. This Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year. Okay, he was an edge rusher in the Mountain West. And Floyd, coach, I keep saying Floyd. For those who don't know, Sharif Floyd, former Minnesota Viking, is now the assistant coach, defensive line coach for the Cowboys. Basically, probably taking Leon Lett's spot. Junior Fayeoko is an interesting one here because Coach Floyd talked about him transitioning into a 3-tech at some point. He didn't say right now, which when I first heard the interview live, I thought he did say he was going to move inside. And maybe he does, right? Maybe they see him work as an edge and they see his athleticism isn't quite there out there and he's kind of getting stonewalled. And they just move him in right away. But nonetheless, they think he can move inside. But when you look at how Dan Quinn uses these type, he's going to probably play inside, outside anyway. You know, the tweener tag to me, I have a love-hate relationship with it. Because if you're a tweener, I need you to be able to be extremely dominant at something. And for Fayeoko, it's supposed to be the run defense. He was a really good run defender in college. I wonder how that translates in the NFL. We will see. But it's clear as day that Fayeoko as a run defender is something that the Cowboys covet. As a pass rush guy, I think he'll be more suited to showcase his pass rush ability on the inside. I think quality tackles will be able to handle him. But on the interior, I'd be interested to see how he handles in the pass rush department. But he's a guy they already talked about moving inside, so that shows his versatility as well. Awesome Richards. Talk about a name. Love that name. I actually like this pick a lot. I had to go back, look at Awesome Richards when they took him because y'all know me. I was looking for a guy in the first 3 rounds that could come in here and play guard. They didn't get that. That kind of goes to what I said at the top of the round. They checked every box of positions that they wanted, just not the way we wanted them, or maybe I wanted it. Awesome Richards is an experienced left tackle, played some guard, worked that guard down there at the Senior Bowl. Will McClay talked about that in the presser. And Coach Mike Solari already confirmed that he is going to be more guard tackle. So here's your guard pick. When will he be able to take hold of that position is the question. And something I talked about during the live stream was, I think this is after the second pick. After they took Luke Schoonmaker, I said to myself, I wonder if they're saying to themselves, we can get a guy on day 3, we believe, that can compete for this job on this team. And I had to think, I'm like, well, is there a Connor McGovern on this team? No. And what I mean by that is Connor McGovern was around for 3 years, going into his 4th year. Whoever you drafted, say we just pretended, a McGovern was here. If you draft a day 3 guy, probably going to be hard for him to beat out a Connor McGovern. I don't look at Chimo Edoja as a Connor McGovern. It's a 1-year veteran minimum deal. He's not even guaranteed to be on this team. Granted, he's probably your best depth at this point now. But if Awesome Richards comes in, Awesome Richards can push him. If he comes in and he shows something, he could push him. Josh Ball, nobody's really counting Josh Ball to do anything. We don't know what the other interior guys are going to be like. Again, a lot of people like to talk about Forniak. Forniak in 2.5 games gave up 13 pressures, 6 quarterback hits. So he's got to show that he can handle that spot too. So that's why I wonder if they're looking at day 3 as a position, as a time to grab someone. Now, there was guys there. Zavala, I would have loved him to get. Mafi, I would love him to get. But Richards, I tweeted, and I can show the tweet maybe a little bit later. There's something there with him. And I'll get into the breakdown of it throughout the week, like I said, or the coming weeks. But there's something there, and I'll leave it at that. But Mike Solari did come in. He's excited about him, and I think he's going to move into guard. from what he said. And then last but not least, Deuce Vaughn. First of all, the story is one of the best. Not just for the Cowboys, but in the draft in general. And I know we're not supposed to, it's not just about the feel-good story. But it's really, really hard to ignore that. It really is, especially as a vertically challenged brethren and a father. I don't think there's another draft pick I'll be rooting harder for than Deuce Vaughn, man. And we'll obviously go into grave detail on Deuce Vaughn and the selection. But I don't think I'm gonna have to do a whole lot of cheering. I think his play is gonna do the talking for him. He's the most versatile player that the Cowboys drafted and the most productive. The versatility shows obviously in his statistics and his film. He racked up a ton of yards on the ground, but he also had 116 receptions, over 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns in the air. That's more receptions, yards, and touchdowns than Jahmyr Gibbs, who went 12th overall. Okay? Now, he's not as fast as a Jahmyr Gibbs, and again, we'll get into the details of him. But just from a pure versatile role, Deuce Vaughn is going to give you that versatility. Plus, I think he's going to be able to do some return things. So, Devontae Turpin. There were other backs on the board that I liked, but clearly there was none that were more productive than Deuce Vaughn. And we'll get into more detail, but I think Deuce Vaughn, Tony Pollard is going to make for a fun duo. And I think we saw last year when TP went down, you didn't really have a guy that can create like this. So now you do. And flat out, I'll say it right now here May 1st. I think Deuce making the damn team. So I'm going to be talking moving forward as if Deuce Vaughn is on this team. And I know, Scott, that's mad early. He could be trash. I don't think that's going to be the case. So we'll get into it. So that's where kind of the versatility is for me in this draft. For most of these players, not all. I didn't really get into Jalen Brooks or Eric Scott. But I think 6 of these 8 picks bring some type of versatility to the table. And I think that's why I kind of dubbed this theme as versatile more than anything else, Cowboys Nation. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I do want to pivot real quick before I get into the chat. Well, actually, I'm getting to the chat first, and I'm going to pivot to my superlatives, because here's what I want to do. I want to get all this out right now, and then I want to talk to y'all on the phone because I know y'all will call in. So if you don't know the call-in line, it's 351-999-3787, 351-999-3787. Let's hit this chat right quick and see what you guys are talking about here in regards to the versatility of this draft class. A lot of people, Professor O says, Deuce is the only player I got excited about. Well, y'all know me. I got really, really excited about Mozzie. What's good, King Element? Deuce has a ton of production against Power Fives. Indeed he is. Let's see here. Mike says, me too, Sky. All those other backs had off-field issues. And that's one thing about Deuce. Quality character, quality guy, obviously productive on the field. The team speaks highly of Chris, which is his father, Chris Vaughn, the scout. And I think you see that through Deuce. If you get a chance, go check out on Cowboys.com or the YouTube page. They have a draft special or what have you, like 47 minutes. And they go into detail with Chris and his son Deuce, which is another thing, too, that's close to me. It's personal. I mean, his nickname is Deuce, obviously, because he's a second or what have you, or a junior. And that's my son's nickname is Deuce because he's a second/junior. But nonetheless, if you go watch that interview, documentary, whatever you want to call it, man, it really makes you want to root for those dudes a lot more, man. It truly does. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and read my superlatives real quick. And when I do these superlatives, you guys can participate. And then on the phones, obviously, you can give me your answers as well. I only stuck to 4. I didn't want to do. You could do a whole bunch of superlatives. Most likely to succeed, most likely to fail, all that stuff. I didn't do that. I did it a different way, kind of, but not really. So the first draft superlative, and I'll keep this up so you guys can see and you can give me answers as well. Best pick best pick to me is Mozzie Smith. I just think Mozzie is the best player, you know, but Mozzie, I think, is going to be able to help multiple levels of the defense. So I didn't think it was really that difficult for me. I think it's Mozzie Smith here. I don't know that I need to go into grave detail on that, but the best pick is Mozzie Smith. He's going to come in right now, help stop the run with that upside to be able to push the pocket or do some things to affect the quarterback. So Mozzie Smith. Safest pick. Before I say this, I want to see what y'all say first. Safest pick in the Cowboys 2023 draft class. Some could say Mozzie here. Maybe he runs the table. Awesome. Oh no, that's not my answer. Let's see. I've seen my answer already. Luke Schoonmaker is actually my safest pick. And honestly, for a second round pick, damn it, I ain't even going to trip no more, man. Look, we done been too risky in the second round. No, but seriously, we have been risky in the second round. So Luke Schoonmaker, here's why I have him as my safest pick. He's already a ready-made run blocker with an overall, you know, solid floor in general. Right now, I think he's going to give your 12 tight end set more pop in the run game than it had last year. And that's with compliments to Peyton Hendershot, who developed as a blocker, but Luke is already going to come in here as a better blocker, and he's probably only going to get better as a blocker. But he could potentially also add another reliable weapon in the pass game. So I think your 12 set gets better right now, which makes that safe. This isn't a guy you got to worry about off field. This isn't a guy you have to, you know, question his work ethic. This isn't even a guy you question if he's going to play. Luke's going to play. So safest pick is Luke Schoonmaker. I got to make sure I say that right. Luke Schoonmaker, I have as the safest pick. Cool hands, Luke. It looks like most of y'all believe that as well. Biggest question mark. I think this is going to be all over the place right here. This is going to be all over the place. For me, the reason I'm going to give you my biggest question mark, but it's more to do with the what to do with, if that makes sense. But I want to know who y'all biggest question mark is in this one. And I think, and it's fair enough that it'll be all over the place. Yep. Just as I predicted here. In the first five of them, Overshown, Scott, Schoonmaker, Fehoko, and Awesome. I thought that'd be the case. So for me, it's Eric Scott, man. And I'm just not quite sure what to make of him just yet. You know, I got some more homework to do, but from the general study so far, which isn't, again, I'll completely admit here, it's not like I just dove into this cat. He tested well as an explosive athlete. Right now, a lot of people are going to say 4.71, Scott. Well, that's already been debunked about what happened in one of his jumps. He messed up his hammy and ended up, or his groin or something, and ended up running a 4.7. But he's really more of a 4.4 some athlete, and he plays much better than a 4.7 athlete on tape. So it's not 4.7 that has me as a biggest question mark. It's really not the player in itself. It's not a bad thing that I'm saying the biggest question mark. Is he a developmental guy on the boundary? Is he going to be a potential free agent? I'm sorry, free safety. Is he going to be a potential free safety? Because that position has question marks hanging over its head. I just don't know what to make of Eric Scott yet, which is why I have it as the biggest question mark. Where I can legitimately give you an Overshown role, a Awesome role, a Fehoko role. But what are we going to do with Eric? They traded up for him, so they like him. There was high-fiving and fist bumping and chest bumping in the room, so they like him. And he's a Dan Quinn guy. You know, long, he has a traits, he's fast, he's physical against the run. So there's something there. I just don't know just quite yet about him. And I'm not saying it's similar to Deron Bland, right? Because with Bland, you saw some things where he transferred to a bigger school. But with Eric Scott, I'm just not quite sure yet. I got to do a little bit more. I got to feel better about this by watching a little bit more. And then, last but not least, the best value is easy. It's Deuce Vaughn. And if you could go in the 6th round and you can come away with the running back who is that productive at a Power 5 school, who can do a multitude of things for you, that's the best value, man. And some would argue this is why you don't go running back early, because you can get a guy like Vaughn later. And there were other dudes on the board as well, but Deuce Vaughn was ranked at the top of their list. And I don't want to get too many details about Deuce just quite yet, because I want to break him down in our rating series. But when a guy is that small, obviously the Darren Sproles is going to be the name that gets brought up. When a guy is that small, the number one thing that you think of was, can he run between the tackles? But I had to take a step back. I had to zoom out and remember what I said about when I was evaluating a lot of these running backs. Can you make guys miss in a hole? Ain't too many dudes that can make guys miss like Deuce Vaughn. Ain't too many dudes that has the vision like Deuce Vaughn. Not too many guys have that quickness and that cut on a dime, stop and go, quickness like a Deuce Vaughn. So, and he get lost, and he can get lost with these 6'3", 4, 5, 6 guys at the line of scrimmage. So, one of the things I love what he said was, I've been this size my whole life. I've learned how to use my size to my advantage, to use my leverage to my advantage. And I think you see that in how he runs. So again, we'll get into more detail about him. We'll put the film on and all that good stuff. But I think he's the best value in this entire draft is Deuce Vaughn. All right. So that is kind of my general rundown of this draft. And let's hear from y'all, Cowboys Nation. And let's get on the horn and talk to my Reading brother, Mr. Ronnie. Good morning, good sir.
Good morning, and God bless you and the show and your family, like always, and your boy Vosh. I'm going to tell you right now, to me, they did a solid job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In a lot of aspects, because like that schoolmaker guy, he's going to be a very good, tight end, because he got a lot of upside. He got good fundamentals. So that's going to help. He's a very good sided blocker. That's what we need, especially if we're going to run the ball. Because if you don't got good blockers, you can't run the ball.
Yeah.
And like what you're talking about, your boy Deuce, he's going to be special. He's going to be special. He got the ability to stop, like you were saying, stopping on the dime, cut different ways. And then for him to be small, if you look, he can block. He knows how to throw his body.
Yeah, I ain't trying to do that with him. I ain't trying to do that with him.
No. But I'm just saying, certain situations, because, no matter what, there's going to be certain situations where you're going to have to block.
No situation. Ain't a situation. Ain't no situation. I'm trying to put Deuce out there to block. No.
I understand, but, sometimes, what I mean, he's going to have to run him. But to me, he can do the job because he had a better career than Darren Sproles in college.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Ronnie. That ain't it, bro.
What's up?
With Deuce going to have to take somebody's legs out or something. But brother, you ain't trying to put that. You ain't trying to put it out there to block nobody.
Look at his film. And there was a couple of situations where he. Look, I'm not saying that they're going to put him at the primary block, but that there's situations where you do got to throw your body out there. Come on, this is football.
Yeah, and I ain't putting him in that situation. Is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh no, we don't want to put him in a situation, but you know what I mean. But anyway. And that dude, the fullback, Hunter, I think he's gonna be something for us. I like him because you know what I mean. He's pretty athletic for a fullback. He's pretty good.
Yeah, he could be our use check or Kyle use check.
Yeah. He moves pretty good for a fullback, and he catches the ball very good, very good.
Yeah, he's a use check light.
You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, he's a use check light guy.
Yeah. He nice. And Heiko, Mozzie, he's going to do his thing. But they did good. And remember, all these sexy names don't make the game. You got to give players that's going to play the right way. That will win championships. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, you have a good one, and God bless you in the show like always. And I hope we do good anyway. God bless.
Salute, brother. Real quick, because let me make this a point real quick, because I know there's going to get a lot of callers. Try to be a little bit respectful to the other callers coming in. Usually I like to talk to y'all in grave detail for a long, long time, but we're going to get a lot of people. And last time I wasn't able to get everybody. So let's kind of get in, make our point. Now, if I counter it or something, that's a different discussion. And let's keep it moving. But when he brought up Hunter, how do we say it? Is it Lupke? I gotta remember how to say his name. But when he brought him up, that reminded me, usually what we're going to do throughout this week and over the next couple, because you get a lot of undrafted guys, we'll do an undrafted free agent spotlight in our roundup, and he's probably going to be the first one because he could potentially be our John Kuhn, be our Kyle Juszczyk, et cetera, et cetera. All right, let's get Reek on the horn. What's good, Reek?
Yeah, what's going on, Sky?
Lipke.
What's going on?
Lipke. All right. What's good, bro?
Chilling, man. What's up, Sky? What's up, Cowboy Nation? I look at it, man. First off, I'm gonna say this. I gotta give you your flowers, man. 'Cause me and you the first one that had a discussion with me. We had a debate about offensive line or defensive tackle. You were right, so I'm gonna give you your flowers, bro. You the first one on here that ever said that to me about drafting this defensive tackle. Remember we had that conversation? Because I was saying offensive line, far as the trenches. So I'm giving you your flowers now, Sky. You were right. Everybody else was wrong. And another thing, I like the draft. I like the way we drafted because it's Mike McCarthy's putting he's putting his English on it, and at the same time they're letting Dan Quinn put his English on it. So I don't know a lot of these dudes. I've never seen a lot of these cats play. So I'm gonna trust in what they're doing. I believe that they can put their players that they want out there, tough guys, and let's see what happens, man. We ain't got the fancy names like my man said before. We ain't got all the fancy names, but that don't matter because on paper you can be a paper champion all day. The only thing that matters is what you do on the field, and I want to see what they do on the field. And it's still mad early because there's still mad free agents out here, and then we got that second round of free agency. So I'm gonna holler at y'all. Let everybody else get in here, man.
My man.
Peace.
Perfect call. Appreciate you, my guy Reek. So look, I mean, again, I don't quite remember the conversation, Reek. I don't think it was a thing of right or wrong necessarily, because look, I wanted trenches period in round one, whether that have been, defensive tackle or offensive line, and they ended up getting my favorite real possibility defensive tackle in round one. So I'm glad they went that route. But yeah, man, something I said on Twitter was that we don't have to cap or play superhero for everything the Cowboys do. I see that a lot with fans. Some blindly just, hey man, everything's great, or they didn't make any mistakes. Like, look, you don't have to cap at that. You don't got to do that. But one thing they do well is that they draft well. One thing they've done well over the last few years is they've developed well. All these picks are not going to hit. Understand that. But I told y'all before this whole process, I'm not going to make that mistake of tripping and snapping and all this and all that when they've proven that they can do this thing here called the NFL draft analyzation and picking pretty damn solid. And maybe they turn the tide a bit here in that second round by getting a guy that's not a Gregory with off the field, a Jalen with the injury, a boss man Fat with the off the field, and maybe that'll help the second round kind of be more consistent because they've been consistent in the first. They've been nailing the first rounders. They've been hitting in some six rounders. That fifth round been a bit rough. We've been trying to get a fifth, but maybe Deron Bland has turned the tide there. But the Cowboys have shown that they could come out of these drafts with at least 2 or 3 guys that could be solid contributors on your team, if not, mainstay type of contributors. So I just say, take a step back, zoom out, and realize your team can draft. That's all I'm saying. You don't got to love every pick. You also don't have to hate everyone. kind of look at this thing collectively. And also remember this. You didn't have a ton of holes. You didn't. I said this at the top of the show. Dallas checked out. They checked all the boxes they needed to check from a position. They just didn't do it in the way that you or I maybe have wanted it. They needed to get interior. I mean, I liked it. They got it right there. They needed to get a running back. They got good value in the 6. They clearly wanted a tight end. That was something that they were not playing about to get a tight end. They just didn't want it in the 1st. So they got it in the 2nd. I wanted them to hit the linebacker spot. I thought they needed to get linebacker depth because there wasn't any in that room. They got that. I was looking for a guard. I wanted to guard a little earlier, but they got that guard. So that they hit everything that you really wanted them to hit in this draft, just not the way you wanted it to be hit. I think that's fair to say. Even if you hate the draft, it's an F, whatever. That is something that's a fact. Jake the Great, what's goody?
Yo, Skywalker Steel, good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me good?
Yes, sir. I got you loud and clear.
All right, good. I'm inside old Megatron this morning, so old Peterbilt is a little noisy. But,
you good, brother? I can hear you.
All right, man. Congratulations, man. You guys did an outstanding job on the draft coverage. You know, just a little difficult for me switching in and out from different content.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, creators, because, you know, you guys are all good, and I want to show my support to everybody.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? The list is too long, but if you guys were live during the draft, I appreciate you guys, and, you know, thank you. Keep doing the great work. As for me, the draft, I would give it a B. I wouldn't say a B+, but I would give it a solid B. You know, I was, you know, and overall, the whole draft was pretty exciting because, you know, I didn't project a lot of teams to be trading up and down and the way teams are going at it. I give our draft a B+. For the whole league, I'm a little mad at Voch Lombardi because he kept teasing the league, saying these teams don't know how to draft. So I feel like they've been watching them. And all of a sudden they're like, yeah, so we can't draft, huh, Voch Lombardi? Watch this. And then, you know, they went at it. And we got wiped out. But we did good. You know, people shouldn't be mad about the picks. You know, I'm a little surprised that we went Mozzie Smith because I wanted a big ugly. When's the last time Dallas even picked a defensive tackle in the first round? Do you even know?
1991, Russell, Maryland. And thank God they broke that spell because Mozzie is one of them ones, bro.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the ones. Well, you know, like, I don't want to blab too long. I just want to say I'm happy with the draft. I give it a solid B. Thank you guys for the great coverage. And on to the next caller, man. How about them Cowboys?
Salute, my guy, Jake the Great. Appreciate you. He said they out there watching Voch talking about teams can't draft. Yeah, teams were definitely kind of plucking guys that we as fans coveted as we got there. And one of those positions, and I wouldn't even say coveted here, but just teams taking them was tight end, right? Like tight end in that second round, you saw them just bing, 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 bing start to come off the board. And one of my theories with them taking Schoonmaker right there, and the reason why we were all kind of like, whoa, because there was other guys on that board, was that maybe they looked at this as Schoonmaker was kind of their last guy that they believe had that quality dual ability and that he wouldn't be around. And we will never know, right? We will never know, but it's fair to think that's a possibility. Now, you could have said, well, Scott, they could have waited and got, you know, Darnell, I think, was still there later, but there was apparently some injury concerns there. Later on, I think Josh Wiley, all these other guys went. But I think they looked at Schoonmaker as a guy that could come in and help in the run department right now better than most of those other guys that would have been available at that time. So when he talks about how you were getting wiped out, quote unquote, I wonder if they felt that way. Probably won't tell you, but I'd like to talk to somebody off the record. I wonder if they felt, hey, man, that's the fifth. I think he was the 5th or 6th tight end taken because it was 1 in round 1 and 3 or 4 in round 2. So maybe they felt a little pressure and they went up and got him. Shocked the hell out of me because I thought there was other guys on there that, again, me personally, I would have taken. But as I said before, there will be the emotional reaction to every pick. But then after you go through that emotional reaction, how does this fit? How does this work? Where can he contribute? Et cetera, et cetera. Because they're Cowboys now, right? And we're fans. So we're going to be pushing for these dudes. And you never know. Maybe you get a DeRon Bland. I don't want to be the guy that says, oh, everybody, Micah Parsons, everybody, Tyler Smith, everybody, these other players that turned out to be good, because that's going to happen every year. So I don't get on fans for being, showing their emotions about a pick because they didn't pick a player they wanted. That's natural. But as long as you ain't 10 toes down that this player is going to suck. I mean, you see fans bust, sir. What are we doing? Let's see them play. You can not like the pick because there's other guys you wanted, but let's see them play before we go ahead and we're labeling guys bust. Relax. That's all. Damn, I need to lock these. All right. Man, it's only right I talk to my West Coast brother Mel. What's good, man?
King Sky, what up, my D?
What's good with you?
Man, this is my kind of perspective on the draft, bro. And really kind of talking more so to some of the fans that didn't like the draft. There was really the Cowboys took care of their business, like their major business, during the trading and free agency period. There was no major holes coming into the draft.
It was one. That's it. Just one major hole.
Okay, so and I'm gonna address that one too. Yeah. In my opinion, well, I would say DT too though.
Nah, defensive tackle was a need. I think there's a difference between a glaring hole and a need. Defensive tackle was a need because you could go line up and play right now and feel really good about your defense and your starting defense, et cetera. But it was a need because you didn't have another run guy like that, and I think he has an upside to be better than that. But on offense, technically, you got to do some moving around to make your offensive line, which we're talking about, right? The guard spot. You had to do some moving around. We're talking about the guard spot. Yeah, you got to do some moving around to go out there and play, and then you can't ignore the injury history of your tackle. So that's why I look at that as a glaring hole, blinking red light hole, and it was only one. But man, I think we're forgetting how good they did in the offseason and how good they did at retaining guys and trading for guys that if you go into the draft and you say, I got one glaring hole, how many teams can say that?
Man, and the thing, even with the guard spot, there just wasn't a guard there that they liked. And when it comes to offensive line selection, I trust this front office in that spot more than I trust them with anything else. So if they say, hey, there's not a guard here that we, throughout our history of drafting O-linemen, feel is going to be able to help us and we may have to fill that role another way, then I'm just going to roll with that and trust that. That's so fair. Although, yes, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, they didn't get a guard, but if they feel like we didn't like any of these guards, then there's a reason for that, and I'm going to roll with them. As far as, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, yes, I feel you. There were a couple of times we were looking at guards, but if they were like, hey, look, we're not really feeling none of these guards, or if there's a reason behind these guards.
I said this to a fan on Twitter. I said something along the lines of they've gained our trust, right? They've earned it. Let me say that. They've earned our trust in this draft.
They've earned it.
They've earned our trust to this draft to the point where you can do this. You can disagree or not feel the move, but because of how they develop or how they draft, you have a little grace within that disagreement, right? Like, damn, I would have took Zavala, or I would have took Mafia, or I would have drafted so and so. But you know what? I'm going to give y'all a little grace here because y'all have drafted well. Now, in previous years, y'all know me. I said they have to draft better because they didn't do X, Y, Z in the offseason. But they did X, Y, Z in the offseason. So I don't think they had to come out of this draft with 5 day one starters or 5 extreme
Bingo. And that's what we're used to having to happen.
Right.
Yeah, that's what we're used to going into the draft going, okay, this guy's got to start at corner. This guy's got to start at tackle. This guy's got to start at guard. And we didn't, or even this guy's got to be a backup. We're not really in that situation right now. Even with the tight end, I kind of looked at all of these picks as future guys that are going to have some contribution this year, not guys that are necessarily going to come in and, the word impact, is
it's relative.
However
right?
you want to phrase it,
it's relative
yeah.
because I do think definitely the first 2 picks are 100% going to have an impact. Overshown may have an impact in a different way. He may be impactful on special teams as he continues to develop as a linebacker, and maybe in spurts they use his athleticism unless somebody gets hurt. But I think Clark and LVE are your guys. But that room in general, right? The room in general is ridiculously athletic. But that's something we'll talk about another point. But Schoonmaker and Mozzie, I think, are going to play a whole lot. Mozzie's going to be in that rotation. I personally think. Now, you know what? We'll save this for another time. But I think Mozzie could be on the field day one. I'm gonna just say that. And then Schoonmaker, I think he's at the very least going to be tight end 2 at the very least. Y'all know how big I am on Ferguson. I think Ferguson will come out here and he's not giving up that spot easily. He knows the offense. It's tough to transition as a wide tight end in the NFL and be uber productive. So I think he has a leg up. But regardless, they're going to play a lot of 12. That means Schoonmaker's going to play a lot.
Yep, exactly. So, I have zero issue with the players they picked. I thought they got some good guys. I got zero issue with it, man. I think they did a great job. It's been a very, very good offseason for this organization. I think the draft followed that up as well. And one more thing on the guard, and then I'm gonna let you go, Scott.
Okay.
If you look at the best tackle currently on this team, not draft position or not historically, but currently the best tackle is Terrence Steele. If we just, in my opinion, the best tackle right now is Terrence Steele. He's an undrafted free agent.
I think it's up for debate. I think people would Tyler Smith you, but okay. What's your point though about it?
My point is the team has proven they know how to find O-linemen. So I would say those that are knocking the draft because they didn't come away with a guard, give it time to let them see, hey, how are they going to fill that hole? How are they going to fill that position? Now, if they come out in preseason and we're looking at, how we were looking at Josh Ball, then we can start to gauge. We can start to.
There's 2 ways to it now. Look, you're right. That's why I said I'll give them grace because they draft well in general. But from the O-line standpoint, there's both hits and there's misses. And
there's misses, 100%.
And one thing I'm not going to fake it. I'm not going to fake that it is a bit of a disappointment that you didn't kind of on the surface come away with that plug and play, right? Because let's just be real. Awesome is going to have to come out there and show. I think there's things to his game that he could translate inside, and I don't think he has a big hill to climb in front of him. So he may very well be your guard, but that's another discussion we'll have once we get there. However, like you said, we hope this isn't a ball situation. Chaz Green and we can go on and on about other guys that didn't pan out. But could it be McGovern? Could it be Tyler Biotish? Could it be Doug Free? Terrence Steele is – look, man, I hate when we use Terrence Steele because Terrence Steele I just think is a super anomaly. I think he's a super anomaly. He's an undrafted guy that was terrible his rookie year. He put in the work. I know we like to give credit to the team.
He was really bad.
I think this was really Terrence. I think this was Terrence, and this was and I'll give the team credit for using him correctly or what have you. But I think Terrence and Duke did a fantastic job by themselves. But could this be a Doug Free? I believe who was a 4th round pick developed. Could this be was Doug 4th round or undrafted? He might have been undrafted. This could be a McGovern who developed into a serviceable guy, a Tyler Biotish who was a mid round pick, developed into your starter. I'd take that from Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, and we're talking about guard. We're not talking about left tackle. We're not even talking about right tackle. We are talking about guard.
True.
So, give whoever they put there some time. I trust my quarterback, man, to be able to work with a little bit of a hole at guard. I trust my quarterback to be able to, know how to maneuver that pocket in year 8 now. So
hey,
I'm not as worried about it. I don't love it though. I'm with you. I don't love it.
That ain't the position I want him to have to maneuver because the worst pressure is interior pressure. But which is why
right in your face.
Yeah, which is why when we discuss Awesome, one of the things that's awesome about him is he has a crazy anchor. So before I don't want to get too far ahead, the reason why I liked Avia is because he was going to help your passing game more so than the run game. The run game, I think, is going to be aided by scheme, I hope. But you needed somebody that could hold up in the pass protection and allow Dak to step up. I think Awesome can do that. Maybe not right now. We'll see. But he has a ridiculous anchor, man. But I'll leave that at that.
Yeah, I was looking at Avia too, but I just think there was something there they didn't like about him. I don't have the answers, but there was something there they didn't like about him.
Like about him what? In the first? I think they would have took him in the second. He just was never going to make it there. I just think they didn't like him in the first. I think they valued Mozzie Smith higher. I think he was 100%. If he would have failed you in 58, I think they'd have took him.
Yeah, I think there was something there they didn't like about him in the first, to be clear, because like you said, if we had one clear hole, you're right, it was guard, right? So if the guard is sitting there and you choose to D-tackle, then there's something there you don't like about him enough to be able to say, let's fill the hole with this guy rather than we'll go another route to try to fill it. I think they knew he wasn't going to be there at 58 too.
Well, I don't think we knew that Cyrus Torrance was going to be there at 58. So when we say no or not no, we don't know. I didn't think Osiris was going to, we don't know. Dardell Washington, third round. I mean, some dudes went undrafted that people thought was going to be drafted in the first, second, or third. It was just a very interesting draft, man. Jack Campbell went in the top 20, which was, I didn't see that coming. Jameer Gibbs, 12 overall. So a lot of things were happening.
Jameer Gibbs, man, I didn't see that at all.
I didn't see that coming either.
I didn't see that at all. Yeah. I thought we'd have a real chance at Gibbs. But, man, let me let the other callers get in, brother. Man, sure, thank you, man. I watched all of the draft coverage, man. You kind of guided me through it. I'm not a draft guy, so it was a blessing being able to watch you guys and being able to follow and get all of the info, man. And, you know, now I'm a lot more informed going into the preseason and training camp and understanding who some of the guys we got are, man. So thank you for that, bro.
Thanks, brother. I don't appreciate you, Mel. I don't proclaim to be draft guy either, but I do try to put in the work once we get to that season. And I'm still learning in this game, in this industry as we go on. So I appreciate y'all for rocking with us. And I'm learning from some of the best that are my cohorts, as my guy Vach would say. So we still grinding. Still grinding. Yeah, I saw that too, Professor O. He bashed him, but tell him what he bashed him about. It was his work ethic, I guess, and being coachable. And what did I say? Well, if you watch Vach's show, one of the things that I said about Osiris Torrance on film was he just looks kind of lackadaisical at times. It ain't like he ain't got the talent. It ain't like he ain't proven in the SEC. But it was times I was just like, does he even care about this play? Yeah. And that was something that what's name brought up was does he have to work at can he be coached? He has that attitude problem. And second round, maybe that's the red flag or the warts that Jerry would have talked about. If you would have took him, that would have been your wart. You would have been able to plug his ass in right now and play, but you would have had a wart to worry about. So I don't think that's the case with Awesome from what I'm hearing. Yeah, King, you literally see it on film. Exactly. All right, let's get to some numbers that I'm not familiar with, and we'll go down here. Hold tight, Marv. You know I like to end it with you, man. 915, what's good?
Yo, what's up, Skywalker? It's your friend. I haven't spoken to you in a while from El Paso. Fonzie, how you doing?
Fonzie from El Paso. What's good, man? Nice to hear from you.
Hey, I'm excited after this draft. You know, just kind of wanted to talk some draft with you. Every year for the draft, I go all out. I watch a lot of you guys speak on it. I just want to see what you think about these three picks. I mean, we've talked about Mozzie. Hopefully he stops the run, right? But I wanted to talk about what you think about round 3, Marion Overshawn. You think he's probably gonna take out Jabril Cox, or what do you think he's gonna do?
Oh yeah. During the stream, me and Voch kind of were seeing eye to eye here, where Overshawn right now is below Clark, but I think probably going to be above Jabril Cox, unless Jabril Cox has a outstanding camp. But that's kind of where I'm looking at it. At some point, I think he'll be over him. And Devin Harper, let's say Devin Harper, let's put him in that whole category as well. But I think Overshawn has a straighter route to a role, because I feel like there's an actual plan for him for Demarion Overshawn. And the difference between him and Jabril is not going to be known as a guy that's a heat-seeking missile. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not a dude that's trying to come down there and tear your head off. He was a guy that was going to have to develop in the NFL as a run type guy, as a missile type guy. You ain't got to worry about that. In fact, with Overshawn, you got to calm him down a little bit. You know, you got to say, hey, big fella, you know, we know you want to use your speed and your athleticism, but we need you just to see it and then go and get it. So I think Overshown it definitely spells trouble in a way for Jabril Cox. I don't think it's off the team trouble, but potentially just special teams delegation trouble. But yeah, I got Overshown right now above Jabril, or fighting. Let me just say that they haven't even stepped on field, but fighting with Jabril Cox and Devin Harper for that third spot.
Gotcha. What do you think about Edge Viliami Fehoko from San Jose? He's the cousin of, if I'm not mistaken, Vita Vea?
Yes, Vita Vea.
Hopefully he gets that kind of intensity like Vita.
Yeah. I try to be real as possible with y'all. Tweeners are they kind of, it's a love-hate relationship with tweeners. I said this before. If you're a tweener, I got to see some crazy pop on the film. And Osa was that for me. When I watched Osa, I just saw him pop off that damn screen against top competition. Fehoko was stupid productive at the Mountain West. Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year. Plays with his hair on fire. Super motor. And now he has that tweener. I just have to. I want to see him against NFL competition, right? In training camp, mini camps, or whatnot, and see if that all can translate before I stamp him, because he's a favorite of a lot of the draft community. They say, "Oh man, Fehoko, that's my guy. He's going to be this. He's going to be that." I just have to kind of put a pause rate, and it's not because I don't like the guy or anything like that. It's just that, okay, Osa, and who else you got? Mozzie, Hankins, you got Golston. So the interior, I don't see him really kicking in there and moving anybody out this year just quite yet, although Floyd says he thinks he can get on the field. Then you look on the outside, and you got a plethora of guys, that are going to be able to pass rush. Sam Williams, Dante Fowler, Dorrance Armstrong, D.A., Micah Parsons. So I don't really see him getting on the field there. I'm more in the mode of, I think he's going to transition into 3-tech at some point. When? I don't know. But he's a guy I'm kind of like, let me see if he can hold up physically against these guys, because he's not super athletic. So I just want to see if he can hold up against NFL offensive linemen.
Gotcha. And then the last question, guys, I'm going to keep it short. Eric Scott Jr., big hit or big miss? Is he going to be my favorite player last year, Deron Bland, or is he going to be what's that corner?
Nahshon
Wright. Corner from Oregon.
Nahshon Wright.
Nahshon Wright.
That is that's a fantastic Cowboy comparison. Is he going to be Wright or is he going to be Bland? And I got a big giant question mark on Eric Scott. I got to do a little bit more homework. I'm just not sure just quite yet. He's got dumb athleticism though. I mean, he was ridiculously explosive at his pro day. So I just got to do a little bit more. I really want to hear Dan Quinn talk about him before I give my idea about him. Because if Dan Quinn talks about the plan with him, it'll make me feel a little bit better.
Gotcha. All right, that's it, guys. Go talk to the other peeps. Just before I leave, puro pinche Cowboys for life.
Puro pinche Cowboys, my guy. Appreciate you, man. Good call. Good call, man. Good questions about kind of those middle round dudes. You know? And I think Fehoko of the three I know Eric Scott I put as the biggest question mark, which as I start talking about Fehoko, maybe it's Fehoko, you know? And again, I don't think it's because I think this player was a bad player in college or anything like that. It's just more of the how, you know? The how, where's the fit going to be? Floyd, and when we get to our ratings, Floyd specifically mentioned, he's like, maybe a year or two will move him inside. A year or two. Okay. How's he getting on the field? You know? How is he getting on the field? He believes he can get on the field. Injuries happen. I get it. That 100% could be a thing. And before I think about it now, last year, the defensive tackle room might have been actually heavier from a name standpoint. Technically, it's not as heavy as it was last year. So maybe he can be, maybe he can be the Tristan Hill, and I'm not saying he's Tristan Hill, but we thought, hey, Tristan Hill, man, fighting for your life. This is a deep room. Oh, Neville Gallimore. I didn't bring up Neville's name, but Neville might be on the outs, man. You know, you get Mozzie Smith, you get a Fehoko who's going to be a 3-tech at some point. Neville fighting for his life. But anyway, Neville Gallimore, Mozzie, Hankins, Golston, and Osa. it may not be as deep of a room because last year you had to add Tristan, you had to add the Big Country, you had to add Watkins. So it was a really deep room. Bohanna, damn it, maybe it is a deeper room. I ain't even think of Bohanna. Different positions, but nonetheless, it's still not as deep as it was last year from a name standpoint. So maybe Fehoko has a slightly smaller hill to climb than Big Country did, slightly. Because right now, I don't know that I'm going to give up on a Golston in the rotation. I'm damn sure I ain't giving up on an Osa in the rotation. But from a 3-tech standpoint, yeah, sure. Add them to that. Add them to the list. All right, let's get through these ones here. 832, what it is, what it do?
Hey, what's up, Skywalker? How you doing, man?
What's good with you?
Hey, man, nothing to it, man. Nothing to it. Hey, look, Mozzie was to get whatever people think. It's got nothing to do with being sexy. Anybody got any worries about what kind of player Mozzie is or can potentially be? Ask Kansas City. That's what made the Cowboys get it, and that's what was going on in that room when they were arguing. When Kansas City called and say, "Hey, we want to get up and get that," that's who they want. Kansas City already has a guy like that. His name's Chris Jones. So Kansas City, if the Cowboys had let him go because he wasn't going to be there, Kansas City was going to get him. So Mozzie's already going to make that front seven better by himself because he's going to occupy 2 guys, and that's going to free up everybody else. So that's the get. And this draft, again, for me, more than anything else, is about winning as opposed to anything else. This is about how are we going to win football games, and particularly offensively. What are we going to do with our system, with our scheme? What kind of identity are we going to have offensively? We know what Philadelphia's offensive identity. They're an RPO team. We know San Francisco. They're an outside zone play action pass team. That's what they do to win.
Yeah.
That's what the Rams were doing to win. They were doing a lot of misdirection. So how are the Cowboys going to win offensively? And that's what this is about for me. We ready to win. The team's good. We haven't seen the Cowboys win 12 games in a row in forever. The team is right there. This is about what are we doing from the neck up. So I got no problem with the draft. This draft was about just, hey, let's get some depth in here, and let's get our system in place so we can see how it is we want to win. So that's what I'm excited about. Mozzie was the guy. Everybody, they can do everything else they want to do after that. They got the guy I knew I wanted, and I'm glad they got, because he's going to elevate that entire defensive front by himself.
They got you, guy.
And he won't do it right. He won't do it right away because he's just a young guy. But if he's in the middle of that line and he's got 2 guys trying to deal with him, man, can you imagine Michael Parsons running free like that? Michael's going to play duck, goose with that line. He's just going to pick his spot and he's going to go. I love it. So hey, everybody, hey, let's ride with it because it's a solid draft, not spectacular, but then that's what winning teams do. They don't have spectacular draft. They have solid draft. Because it's time for the Cowboys to start winning. So, hey, man, thank you for taking my call. Everybody stay up, and I'll holler at you.
My man, great call. Appreciate you. He said something in there that we got to talk about at some point, for the offense, and that's the scheme. If you look at the draft now, they got their guy in the back end and Deuce Vaughn. They got a receiver at the end. Receiver, I don't think he'll make the team, but we'll get into all that. I think this might, at least the top of this draft, might have been more of a vote of confidence for what the scheme is going to be, right? It might be a vote of confidence for, hey, look, McCarthy, or hey, look, Jerry, Coach McCarthy, there are things we'll be able to mask because of this scheme. Let's just make sure we stick to our board here and get the best guys that are going to help the team in general. Mozzie's going to not just help the offense or the defense, but the offense as well. Schoolmaker is going to help you in the run department and give you a passing guy option as he continues to develop with a Jake Ferguson. Right? The other dudes, we'll see how they come along. Now, Deuce is loose. We'll talk about it. He mentioned he has a specific plan for Deuce, and I can't wait, man. I just can't wait to really see them how they decide to unleash him. I kind of want to go back for a few seconds here. I saw King Element bring this up. He thinks that Fehoko, he looked at him as D-Law. I shit you not. I was in the middle of tweeting, okay, this Fehoko kid, and I was going to say, is going to be the D-Law replacement. And as I'm doing that, I'm listening to Sharif Floyd, and he says, oh, well, yeah, he's going to transition into 3-tech. Delete. So I deleted it. But I'm with you. I 100% thought that, okay, this is clearly a left defensive end, strong side, run stopping type of dude. But they looking to move him inside. So when, we'll see. But if his role was to be, I don't want to use the word 5-tech. He's definitely not that. But if his role was to be kind of that set the edge, strong side defensive end, that reminds me of a D-Law type with kind of, maybe he doesn't have that athleticism as D-Law, but a potential upside as a pass rusher in the league. That's the one question mark I got. Super productive in college in the Mountain West as a pass rusher. Super productive. But he's not traitsy. He's not that athletic. You see it in some of his moves, and I just wonder if he can beat quality tackles with that deficiency in his athleticism. So, again, kind of just wait and see. But yeah, D-Law was the first thing I thought of was, okay, maybe this is the D-Law replacement, but apparently not. 325. Whoa.
Hey, what's going on, Will Still?
What's up, man?
Hey, listen, I know a lot of people are really down on the draft. This is one of the only drafts that I haven't been super disappointed. Like, we've gotten back-to-back double-digit seasons, right? Mm-hmm. And so how much can you actually improve the team? But we actually improved the team by a lot. For the sequence to beat the Cowboys is very, very simple. Will Still, for the last couple of years, it's like, yeah, they got a couple of defensive stars. So what? You can hit their CB2, and you can hit them with play action because you can run right up the A-gap and B-gap. We lost the Packers game. We lost the Jaguars game. Like, we don't even – like, everyone's asking us to catch up with the division in Philly, right? But if we have a CB2 and we can stop the run, they're not even the 1 seed last year, Will.
Sure.
And so what did we do this year? We got Mozzie. We got the best run-stopping freak of nature, right? Like, we love traits here. And I just don't think it's a Tristan Hill. It's a Power 5 conference. He straight up whooped a lot of people that went early on the board, right? The Paris Johnsons of the world. Nobody wanted to see Mozzie. And so the second one, for a second-round pick, what did we get? I know everyone's killing us for it, but he has a higher RAS score than Jason Witten and Rob Gronkowski. Okay. And Dalton Schultz couldn't block that well. Like, he can block better than Dalton Schultz, I think, day one. So I think we got better there. And he's faster. So then you go, that's going to help our linebackers, which I wanted a linebacker as well. So you go back into the fourth. Fiocco has more sacks than Will Anderson and Nolan Smith.
Let's not do that. Don't do that.
I know, but I'm not saying that he's a better player or anything like that. He has in the conference. Yeah, but I'm saying as far as production goes, he lived in the backfield, right? That's why everyone's excited.
Okay. I can't get with you on that one, but keep going.
No, it's okay. I'll keep preaching, but I'm just letting you know he's got Vita Vea's cousin. He's gonna have Mozzie Smith doing the haka, and we're gonna be good. Can you imagine if you're Philadelphia, you're Jalen Hurts, you step on the field, and you got Mozzie and Micah Parsons and D-Law and some Vita Vea's third long lost cousin summoning the Samoan gods and stuff. Oh, gosh. Yeah, summoning the ancestors to take y'all soul out at AT&T Stadium. Y'all ain't ready. And so then you go on to the next pick. All right, they got a silky offensive tackle with really long arms and good feet. I heard Solari, he's not even sounding pressed, Will. We're the ones worried about a guard. Solari, he's just talking. He's like, oh, yeah, we like to get young men in here with good feet and long arms.
What is he going to do? What's Solari going to do? Go in there and be like, oh, my God, we're so scared of the guard. He's not going to go in there and admit that there's a hole at guard. He's not going to do that.
That's true. That's true, right? But you can listen to him faking. Right? You can listen to him. Does he stutter?
Brother.
Does he sound scared? Nah, he's sounding.
This is a guy who's been a coach for 30 years. This is just another day to him. True. This is for 40, 50 years. This is another day to him. He just, this is nothing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go here and I'm a coach.
So I look back at Solari's Solari's history. One time he took the New York Giants. They had 10 starting lineups, and he made it work. It was one of the best offensive seasons.
Yes,
so I was like, okay, maybe we're better there than we thought.
We're not. But Solari's a quality coach. You know, that's two different displays.
Hey,
Look.
We don't coach him up.
We don't have to pretend like everything is honky dory, my guy. You ain't got to do that. You ain't got to come on here and fake the funk with me, man.
Our line. No. Our line. Yes, listen. Our line. Dear God.
Right.
Dear God, Will. Dear God, Will. But how do you help that O-line? Yeah. You get the best fullback in the draft. Yeah. You get a blocking tight end. So if you got a pass rusher, guess what? We're running right at you. We're going to chip you with Terrence Steele or Tyron Smith and Shoemaker. We might run a fullback at your ass too. And then we're coming out of the backfield with Tony Pollard or Deuce Vaughn. Y'all are done. But yeah, I'm not no homer on our O-line. I'm worried about our O-line. No joke. But Deuce Vaughn, he had a similar senior season as far as receptions and production. If he was 5 inches taller, he would be a second or third round, right? Like, am I crazy to think that?
No. Well, at the top of the show, I said he's probably your most productive player you drafted. He had more receptions, yards, and receiving receptions, receiving yards, receiving touchdowns than Jahmyr Gibbs. And some of the most carries in the draft and productive there. So he's uber productive and without a doubt, the best value in this draft, I think, was Deuce Vaughn.
And so what I was comparing him to is we have to look at our contemporaries. And let's be honest, who is that? That's the Philadelphia Eagles and San Francisco 49ers, right, Will? And they traded for DeAndre Swift. I think he's better than DeAndre Swift, honestly. And that's not me being a homer. It's just Deuce Vaughn is that dude, man.
Yeah, it's kind of a Darren Sproles type situation here.
Oh, for sure. But he catches out of the backfield really good. If our offensive line, we can use screen game to help negate our trash offensive line. Will, I'm trying to think of ways that we can get around the offensive line and Deuce might.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think the old line is trash. I just think you got a hold there. But hey, man, look, fantastic call. We can't go through every pick and break down every single one with every caller. But
no, that's all I was wanting to talk. Yeah. Well, I'm just saying I'm excited and I like what our Cowboys had a plan. We actually had a plan. It looks like how we could upgrade our team and things we wanted to do to address real weaknesses, which is refreshing. So yeah. Have a great day, Will.
Appreciate the call, man. You had me till Fehoko when you brought up Will Anderson, and but my man's excited. I can dig it, man. I can dig it. Yeah, there's a path for all these draft picks for sure. There's 100% a path. And you kind of went away from what I thought you were going towards was the fact that you upgraded in the off season, not just the draft, because in reality, in the draft, I personally think you're going to get. I'm gonna include Deuce 3 guys, which that's good. I think you're going to get 3 guys in 2023 that I think can contribute a lot. Mozzie, Schoonmaker, and Deuce. I think those 3 guys are going to contribute a lot just right now in May. Right, things can happen. And then I think Overshown's going to start as a special teams guy. I don't think he's going to start over Clark or LVE. Maybe injuries happen or whatever. And running back position is a running back position, but let's see how they utilize. Deuce. But you talk about cornerback too. That didn't happen in the draft. That happened with Gilmore. It was absolutely an issue with this team. The wide receiver 2/3, whatever you want to call it. Brandon Cooks. Then you compound that with the Mozzie. And you compound that with another weapon you get in Deuce. And then, look, I don't think Schoonmaker is going to move the needle in this first year. I don't. I do think he makes the 12 personnel set better, though. I think you can say both of those things. It'll be better out of 12, but I don't think this is something that's going to move the offensive needle in some spectacular fashion. But he's an upgrade, I think, from Peyton Hendershot in the blocking department, and we'll see how he develops as a receiver because he showed you some things on film that he can do as a receiver. And I agree with Professor O. When we thought RAS scored, let's talk about it for what it is. It's about athleticism. It doesn't necessarily mean you are a better player or as good of a player as somebody else that didn't have the same score. It just means you move different in those testings. And it's in those testings. And I'll use the name Kuntz. Kuntz scored a 10. You watch his tape, he don't move like that. You know? He brought up Rob Gronkowski. Sure, he got a better RAS score than Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski didn't need to move, like a schoolmaker. So I don't really like to use that relative to, like you said, Professor O, if that guy's a good player. That just means he tested well in his athleticism. Yeah. Now, certain positions you can say, hey, that's scary, right? Because you need certain positions. A lot of people, and Foots, shout out to Foots, he uses this a lot at corner, and so does Marcus Mosier. There are certain scores at that cornerback position that does translate into the NFL. Tight end, I don't think is really one of them. Good stuff so far. Good calls. Y'all in the chat keeping it popping in there, I see. We got 1, 2, 3, about 4 more. And then we'll finish it off with Marv. 801, what's good?
What's up, Sky? How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. Hey, thank you so much to you, Vach, Foots, for an incredible draft coverage weekend. Really, really appreciate your guys' hard work.
Thanks,
I know
man.
you guys have been burning that midnight oil, so appreciate your hard work.
Thanks, fam. It ain't done. We still gonna be up to midnight trying to make sure we give you all these quality breakdowns moving forward. I'm just gonna try to roll them out as smooth as possible, as opposed to just throwing it all at y'all at once.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. So I just wanted to talk about one quote that I heard from Mike McCarthy over the weekend that actually got me pretty stoked, and get your thoughts on something. So
okay.
Mike was saying something around the lines like people were asking about Philly's draft or these other drafts that happen, and he was like, listen, I don't really care what other teams do. We're focused on what's happening within our own organization. And it got me thinking, especially with the Jerry Jones I don't give a shit quote on his board or wanting to show that. But
yeah, what did he say? Jerry was like,
who gives a shit?
Yeah, exactly. But those two combined made me think, like, is this the first time in a long, long time that the Cowboys organization actually feels like it's focused on being a championship type club? Like, are they at the point now where they're not giving away secrets? Are they at the point where they're starting to focus on, hey, what scheme can we do to evaluate or to elevate our players? Like, I just feel a totally different vibe from since Mike McCarthy has come in, that there's just so much more focus, and he's almost, put the reins on Jerry and Steven, and it's no longer this, it's always going to be Jerry. There's always going to be media circus type stuff, but at some point they're...
Yeah, it's tough to put it all, put the reins all on Jerry, because, Jerry will go on the radio, say something, and Mike be like, come on, dog. Like, why you giving
exactly.
That? But you're right, though. I think Mike McCarthy, and we talked about this when he got hired, a culture change. I think he was suppressed a bit, and we use the word unsullied, because of Kellen. Kellen was here. That was kind of the last thing of the old regime that still had power, right? But you talked about, scheme fits, like having an actual scheme. McCarthy talked about that shit during the season, and he said, hey, man, it was me. I'd have a play sheet for specific players, et cetera, et cetera. He was telling you right then and there, this ain't my doing. So, great point. And the way they attack this thing, it could be that way. And then the way he talked about Deuce Vaughn, when he said, I've got a specific, way that I'm going to use him. And he referenced Randall Cobb. And I'm going to go back and look at some things that Randall Cobb did. But I think I understand what he was talking about. But it goes to your point. I want these players, I'm going to fit this scheme and these players, I'm going to marry it. I'm going to find a way to get the best out of these guys and not just say, hey, this is what we run. You're going to run it, whether you're good at it or not.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think this draft, like if this exact same draft had happened 6 years ago during the Garrett era, I would have been terrified of this draft because I think we would have taken a lot of players and not necessarily known what we were going to do with them. We were just going to kind of throw them against the wall and see what stuck sort of deal. Whereas now I think the culture and the leadership that we have in that front office, I think I can look at this draft and genuinely get excited because it doesn't seem like just a bunch of random pieces. Like this is something that I can see where things are going to fit. Mike has a vision of where things are going to fall, and even seeing Schottenheimer as involved with like the Deuce Vaughn call and some of the other things. Like I think this organization is plugged in and they're focused more than they have been in the past.
Fantastic point. I agree. It does feel that way, and I think it started with them moving on from Kellen and Mike being able to have more of a say in how he wanted to build this thing. And obviously we got to give, Dan Quinn is a major part of helping this. And I think that not McClay, McClay too. Come on now. Well, McClay he's the whole thing. He's the key to this whole thing. But I think McCarthy
absolutely
understands the importance of Dan Quinn. And that's why every year when that man came back, you could just hear the sigh of relief from Mike McCarthy, because they have a great connection and a great relationship.
Yeah, just to touch on that like super quick, and I'll let you go. I know you have other callers, but is Dan the first coach that maybe helped Jerry and Steven see that you can marry scheme with talent? Like, I think Jason Garrett and Kellen Moore used to preach like, scheme, whatever, like, but they never really like put that on the field. I think Dan Quinn for a long time has been one of the few coaches who came in and said, here's how my scheme is going to line up with talent. And I wonder if that kind of made Jerry and Steven pay a little bit more attention when coaches say, hey, this guy's a scheme fit, to like actually trust that coach that, hey, you have a plan for it. Like, I wonder if Dan kind of had that.
It's tough to say, because defensively, I think he's always let the defensive coaches do what they want. I think he's always let them. Yeah. I don't think he really held them back. Now, if you would have said McCarthy, I would have said McCarthy might be the first person to really, allow, I don't want to say Jerry, but allow them to have confidence that, their scheme can work, as opposed to having to rely on, the top players all the time out there, which you need. Like, you always want to have top players, but if you don't, can you get by? And we saw sometimes under the old regime, it works when you have your horses. What happens when one of them goes out? What happens when Tyron goes down? What happens if Amari is not on or not there? Well, what happens? And it kind of had its ups and downs in that way. What happens if Dak Prescott's not there? Things like that. But
yes, sir.
But defensively, I think he's always kind of let them breathe. Offensively is whereas I want Ezekiel Elliott in round 4, or I want, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, or no, McCarthy, you can't run your offense. This is Wonder Boy's offense, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I agree with you 100%. But anyway, I'm optimistic, man. I think there's some good changes happening. I am stoked for training camp. I think it's going to be a hell of a battle between a lot of groups, and boy, Neville's in trouble. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, brother. Neville. Appreciate it, man. Good call.
All right. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Neville is going to have to play out of his mind. And again, I was thinking about this earlier when I was listening to Floyd. We'll save it for tomorrow, but Dan Quinn, 2 years with the Cowboys, going into his 3rd year. Over the last 3 years, though. Let's not count now. Let's count his last year in Atlanta. Hell, we can even count in Seattle. But let's go last year in Atlanta, 1st year in Dallas, 2nd year in Dallas. There was a improvement. There was an adjustment. There was something different that Dan did year to year. Might have been small. You might not noticed it. But there was clearly something. Year 1, it was obvious. He talked about it. Hey, I'm not going to do the same things I did. I'm going to marry things at work and try some different things. He's a smart dude. And Kyle Shanahan said, hey, he's got the advantage. He doesn't run nothing the same that he did in Seattle, that he did in Atlanta. Nothing. So he's got the advantage. Year 3, do we see a different variation of the defense? I think we will. Coach Floyd talked a little bit about it. I still think we'll see some things on the back end. When you got a guy like Gilmore and Diggs out there, I think you'll be able to do different things from a pressure standpoint. I don't think we're going to see the same amount of stunts and games. I think all that stuff is going to go out the window. Now, not fully. I think you'll still see some games and some stunts, but not at the rate that they used to, and I think that's going to help this defense. Just speaking defensively. I just happened to look down, and I saw that TC915 says, Sky, does Deuce make Cavante a cut candidate? He puts him on a hot seat. I don't see how you have both of those dudes on the team. If Deuce is going to be return guy, if Deuce is going to be Tony Pollard year 1. Remember Tony Pollard was RB2, right? He was RB2, but he was also return guy. Where does that leave Cavante Turpin? He's not going to be a receiver all like that, is he? I mean, you got Brandon Cooks. Now, before they got Brandon Cooks, he was talking about being utilized in that way, but they got Brandon Cooks now. Clearly, they are going to allow Jalen Tolbert to mature into his role. Michael Gallup's coming back. CeeDee Lamb. There's really not much room for Turpin on his offense. And in the open field, I don't think Turpin is better than Deuce Vaughn. I mean, at least from the college tape. Deuce Vaughn has running back vision. Kevontae Turpin, I ain't trying to get on a little fella. We got two little fellas now. And we know what Kevontae Turpin has done in the open field, last season. It wasn't fun, unless it was preseason. But Deuce Vaughn, I think, in the open field is going to make these, punters and gunners look silly. So that is going to be a fun camp battle. It's going to be part of our camp battle series. 100%. Let y'all know that right now. Deuce Vaughn versus Kevontae Turpin as a return. If Deuce Vaughn can handle it, all right? 727. What you got?
What's up, Scott? This is Damon here. How you doing there, young man?
I'm doing fine, sir.
Oh my goodness! I tell you, the most saddest person it was to ever see Mozzie get drafted. It's got to be Jason Kelsey. Jason Kelsey's gonna get his ass whooped from pillar to post. I know you Eagle fans listening in, and I always got to throw a swipe at you. He is 35 years old, going on 36. He got a young man hungry, nasty, strong, 21 years old, going to be right in front of him all day long. If I was the Cowboys, I would not take him off the field. Jason think he's going to get I'm going to get a rest for these 2 downs. No. Increase his pass rush skill. When you start knocking Kelsey's ass back in the backfield, you're going to see a different Jalen Hurts. Bravo on the strategy. So some of you Cowboy fans worried about the Eagles. Eagles worried about rookies. You cannot worry about rookies making your team better the first year. If you're a fan depending on rookies to make your team better, oh my goodness, you're living in a fantasy world. And plus, you can't play all those players anyway. You can only bring 48 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, they can get the whole Georgia squad all they want to. We got faster. We got better. The Cowboys team is not a bad team.
No.
They did what they have to do to get better. We got coaching. I don't think that the guy they got right now is capable of pushing these guys, elevating them up to win an NFC title a second year. I just don't see it. You got the frat boys, the whole Georgia team over there. Those boys won a national championship. They go on to another team with Super Bowl aspirations. You got to keep them balanced. At least we got a structure there to keep them balanced, and it's a pecking order. And it's going to be hard, especially, like I said, old man Kelsey, he got some heat on him. He really does. And that secondary is still the same. We got speed on the outside, Cowboy fans. So some of y'all need to come off the ledge. Some of my homeboys in my beautiful hometown of St. Petersburg, Florida, stop going towards the Skyway Bridge. Get off of there. Don't fish it. Don't jump. That's all I got to say, guys. Have a good one. And, boo Eagles. You're going down.
Love the energy, bro. Appreciate you, man. Hey, he came on there with that heat. He said, Eagles?
Man, who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit? I feel you. It's 100% Philly, dog. I look, bravo. You got your draft picks. Quite frankly, we don't care. Seriously, you know what, Steven? You tell him. You tell him.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. Let me tell you, we don't care.
I don't care. Until the Eagles consistently beat the Cowboys, beat them head up, I don't care. Whatever. We're going to be competing with Philly. We're going to be competing with the Niners. We got a team to do it. You got good players. Cool. So do we. Anybody panicking over the Philly moves, don't panic. Respect them. Salute them. Keep it moving, man. 716. What it is, what it do?
Good morning, Will Sky. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
Let me try to keep this real quick, and I need your help now, okay, at the end. So I love this Mozzie Smith pick. let me just touch base on who I think the wild card of this draft is. I think it's Overshown. I think he's a great player. You want to talk about a true Dallas Cowboy with that Dallas Cowboy hat and the way he looks? He's a true Dallas Cowboy.
Hey, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, he's from Texas, right? From the area, right?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
I like your point about linebacker. I could also now he's a lot thinner than what I thought he was.
Yes, he's lanky.
I could see him maybe being that Jerron Curse role and learning off of him and being the safety in the box type of guy and doing some things. Now, I think he's the real wild card role. But listen, Sky, so I'm 716. I live here. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan since 1981. The only team I ever grew up loving, watching, you name it. I'm here in the land of the I'm going to be quiet about this, the Buffalo Bills. And I'm taking some heat here in Buffalo, okay?
Ooh,
the
Buffalo.
heat I'm taking is, these guys here in Buffalo are convinced that the Bills moved up over Dallas to take Kincaid and stole them from Dallas. I'm like, guys, no. Help me out here.
Yeah. So apparently, from the reports, the Bills actually did buy the first round tight end talk, and that's why they jumped him. However, according to Archer, Kincaid wasn't the option. He wasn't the name at 21. Or I'm sorry, at 26. So they got essentially. They jumped Dallas to secure their tight end, but Dallas was like, okay, we're taking Mozzie. So it worked. The propaganda worked.
Thank you, sir. That's what I thought. That's what I'm trying to tell my Buffalo Bill homers. Thank you.
Man, salute. Great call. As for Overshown, that's something that immediately when the pick was made on the live stream, we were just talking, how we throw ideas out there. We're like, well, I wonder with the safety background, can he play the curse role or whatever? We'll have to hear what, Coach Quinn says. But the player comp, and I'll use this again probably next week when we get to it. I think Overshown is going to be Dan Quinn's Frankenstein. The hell are you talking about? Dan Quinn, since he's gotten here, he has tried to find the perfect Dan Quinn type of backer. Right? He's even converted a safety down here. He did not inherit a Deion Jones. He did not inherit a Devondre Campbell. But I think Overshown can be a combination of Deion and Campbell. He ran a faster 40 than Deion. He's as explosive on tape, but he's taller. He has the height of a Devondre Campbell, but kind of that frame of a Deion Jones in the sense of he's about 230. Deion ran about 220. Devondre Campbell went 6'3", 6'4", 230, 235-ish. And I think he's going to kind of be in that Frankenstein mode of a Campbell and a Deion Jones. And he's going to use his mad scientist weapon or mad scientist brain to turn him into a weapon. I don't think you're ever going to see Overshown be a middle linebacker green dot guy. But one of the things we brought up, when you bring in a Mozzie, when you have a Hankins, we'll see what they do in the future. But if you are putting an emphasis on controlling the line of scrimmage for your linebackers, that's where Overshown can shine, right? Where he's not having to deal with all of that traffic right now. He can just go see it, go get it, be a heat-seeking missile. And I just think he's going to be DQ's Frankenstein this year. I do. All right, y'all. Before we get to our final caller, got to talk to y'all about Boston Scientific. ED can affect your self-esteem and impact your most important relationships. If you try pills or any other thing that has not worked as a solution, we got help for you, man. Take a free online assessment that you can share with your doctor. Click the ad in the description. There is a permanent satisfying solution to treat ED, and it's edcure.org. Get the facts. Find a urologist who can offer treatment options when others do not work. Again, that's edcure.org. Brought to you by Boston
You're listening to A to Z Sports.
Do it live!
At some point, hoping to broadcast
In front of the millions
of Cowboys fans to bring you the real. But for now, strap up and here's your host, Skywalker Steele.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
We'll do it live.
I see a lot of people are talking about numbers. Curse ain't giving up that double zero. Or I'm sorry, that zero. Not happening. I'm not gonna hold you though. The way Deuce wear that 22. I mean, I know it's not gonna happen, yo. You know what I'm saying? I'm not silly. I know they're not gonna give him 22. I know he's gotta earn 22. Damn. He just make that 22 look good, man. I wouldn't be opposed to it. They ain't gonna do it though. Let's see here. Let's get back to the chat. Let's see. Yeah, Star. We were talking about that with Professor O. So apparently, and again, it's so crazy how it kind of feels good sometimes when the tape validates what you're hearing. The lackadaisicalness. I never wanted to use the word lazy because me and Voss were trying to figure out different ways to say it. He's like, man, lazy. That's what we're going to use, lazy. Work ethic and coachability is something that was knocked apparently by Osiris Torrance from Duke, who said a lot of people were saying that was a problem. And I'm like, I mean, you can clearly see it on film. It was something that bugged me about him is that, man, dude, you got all this potential. You got this physicalness to you. But you look lackadaisical. That's the word, and I'm sticking to it. You just look lackadaisical. So that's why they passed up on him. Rico Dowdle's 23. Either 20. Yeah, because I think Davis is 34. I know they're not going to give him 22. Somebody said give him 2. I think that's Jordan Lewis. So are they going to give it to Jordan Lewis? We'll see. Or Jordan Lewis will give it to him. Give Deuce 43. Look, I ain't never liked 43 on Darren Sproles anyway. I ain't never liked it. Yeah, Trey, we understand he got to make the team, man. We having a little fun here. I'm just saying it looked good on him. It looked good. I think he's going to make the team. I mean, look, May 1st here, 2023. I haven't said anybody's going to make the team just yet outside those top 3 picks. We know they making the team. But I think Deuce is making the team. 100%. I think right now, as I said at the top of the show, you've got the traits right now between TP, Deuce, and Rojo and Lipke, if he makes it, which I think he could. You've got the room to be productive. You don't need to add or subtract anything. You got the room. I'd be shocked if he doesn't make this squad. All the traits are there for Deuce to make this team, man. He'd have to be extremely bad to not do it. Malik Davis, no offense to Malik Davis. Malik Davis made the team. He's not nearly as productive as Deuce was in the Power 5 schools. In fact, he barely played as much as Deuce did. So I'm just saying. I think he'll make it. Oh, Sproles was a beast. I just didn't like 43 on him. That looked so weird on Darren Sproles. All right, man. We got Magic City, Marv Kuiper, whatever you want to call him today, man. I think he Marv Kuiper since the draft is over. What's good, Marv? How you doing, man?
Oh man, I'm doing good. I like how you hit it out the park. I'm listening. I say, oh man, still is killing it.
Oh my man, appreciate you.
Man, today I'm like, man, you
talking about coming into the league, Trey. Coming into the league, my guy. Oh, that's right. You don't like the draft. Go ahead, Marv. What you got?
So what I like about the drafts is that man, they didn't take no risks. Boom. That was beautiful. You know, with the picks, like you say, only one is the corner, but that dude good. He jumped 39, run a 4.4, so they like him. They moved up the guy. So
who you talking about? Eric. You talking about the cornerback?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he got a chance. They give him a chance. He got to show off in camp. You like to say, me and you in camp, so we see. Oh, another thing, a lot of people ain't talking about. Have you noticed? Everybody didn't catch this. They replaced 3 coaches, right?
A lot of them, yeah.
Okay, so all the Cowboy fans, well, you probably think they replaced Kellen because you didn't use all them weapons you had. Didn't know what you was doing, so he's out of here. Then they replaced the halfback coach because I guess it was favoritism. Didn't play Davis in the San Francisco game when you could have used him. You know what I'm saying? They panicked. You know, and then the key, they replaced the offensive line coach because them players was going to Duke, and he didn't like our starting left tackle, and he hated Avante Collins, and Avante Collins didn't give up no sacks in preseason and started at right tackle, and then he didn't see nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I said, oh man, we gotta get rid of him. We can't be doing this. We need to get our offensive line set.
So Marv,
and
you think they got rid of the coach because they ain't play Avion Collins?
No. I'm talking about the offensive line because he didn't know. We got kind of lucky because, like you said, a lot of them players go to Duke,
right?
Like Steele and all them.
Yeah,
they smart, and that's what, like you said. Now they won't, like y'all said. I was listening to y'all show. What's the big right tackle that everybody hate on the team?
Steele. Oh, Ball.
No. Ball. Okay, yeah. Ball.
Yeah.
If you listening to this show, if you not working with Duke all year, and these players that they got that they just drafted, they all left tackles. And look, they all left tackles. Even the free agents, some guys are rated to get drafted, but you can't draft everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they got good. They can move. They know how to block. They already know how to block and left tackle. And they come in there and beat you out, shame on you. They trying to get you to start somewhere, brother.
Yeah,
so this
is the last straw for Ball. No bars.
Thank you.
This is the last straw for Ball.
Ain't no more. This is the last straw for you, Ball. If you can't hold up, we know you can run block, but they're going to give you a shot at guard. If you don't come in there and start killing people, and you're not practicing with Duke, shame on you.
Yeah.
But the linebacker they drafted, boy, you just said, I was like, man, still cooking. You cooking some food right there. That boy, oh man.
Overshown?
And then with Philly, yeah, oh my God. I was like, I used to watch him in college, and you said it, Deuce a beast. Deuce ran over my Alabama team, ran a 75-yard touchdown with Alabama.
Yeah, Marv, I ain't gonna hold you. Like, I liked the McBrides of the worlds and whatnot, but I don't know how when you pop on Deuce's film, right? He got some of the best film at the position. He's got some really intriguing traits. He may not have the long speed, but he got ridiculous elusiveness and quickness. You can't come out of watching him and be like, man, that ain't it for me. The only knock on this dude is he tiny. That's it.
That's it. It would have been 5'9", like you said. It'd have been a second or third round pick for sure.
And I think he's different than A-Chain, where A-Chain got track speed, kind of a linear dude, and whereas Deuce is like a running back. Like Deuce, and I know we say if he puts on 4 inches or he puts on weight, like Deuce can run the ball. Like they handed that dude the ball 23 times a game. That's crazy for a dude his size.
Man, that guy's a beast. I was like, man, this dude running all over my team, Alabama.
Yeah.
I'm all mad. I said, can y'all make a tackle Alabama? I'm talking about making them look stupid. I'm like, he ran over TCU. Man, he was running over a lot of teams. That little kid, dangerous. He could catch out the backfield. And Turpin, y'all got to remember now, Turpin played 30 games last year. So his legs was tired. So now he'll be fresh.
What about his eyes? What about his eyes? Was his eyes tired? Because I ain't worried about his legs. He had the speed.
Yeah.
He didn't have the vision.
Yeah. Well, you got He'll be your punt returner, and your other guy be your kickoff. Deuce will be your kickoff.
We'll see. Hey, we'll see. Marv, I think that's a legitimate battle, brother, because how many guys you only can carry 46 on game day, 53 in total.
Yeah.
And if it comes down to, your 6th round pick running back and your USFL undrafted returner, it's gonna get interesting. So that's gonna be a battle. And it ain't closed just yet, but they gonna battle this thing out.
Did you see that? Did you see the undrafted players?
Yeah, we're gonna do an undrafted spotlight as we go, like we did last year. When you sign 20 guys, I'm not about to go through all 20 dudes, at this moment. I mean,
they got out of all the undrafted, they was rated to make the Cowboys fan happy. They got rated number 1, the Cowboys.
Yeah, I was looking.
All the undrafted.
Yeah, I was scouring. I was scouring around as well, and saw a lot of rave reviews for the guys that were brought in. There's an O-line guy I like because I'm looking for guard, right? So I'm looking for more dudes to come here and push. I think it's a Bass. Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously, we all know Lipke.
17.
Yeah, and of course Isaiah, the defensive end. His last name.
Oh yeah, the guy from Liberty, the DN from Liberty.
Oh, they got him too. I didn't know they got him.
Wow. Yeah, we got him. Yeah, they got.
They got a lot of people.
They got all the guys. But then, now you was right. See, everybody don't know. Mozzie told you what they had him doing at Michigan. Mm-hmm. They didn't tell him to rush up.
Yep.
Now, I'm gonna tell y'all, the starting people is Mozzie starting at the 3 tech, Hank is at the 4. It's the nose, and then you got D-Ware, and then whoever on the right side who they start. That 3 tech.
Look, Marv, when you say stuff, sometimes I'm like, Marv, you're crazy. But that. I feel like that could be something, Marv, and I feel like I don't think a lot of people will agree with it, but I can't wait.
That's the starting lineup.
I think it could be.
He is not starting at 1 tech, guys. Mozzie is your 3 tech, and he's gonna be eating, and that's gonna make your boy. Now you got a Redskin middle, and that's what we was missing. We was missing that Redskin middle. Now we got it. And that's why your boy, number 11, the king, was going crazy. He get to eat. And then you know what's going to help?
What?
The number 55.
It's going to help him. Yeah.
Going to help him on the line.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, my God. And then you got 33 back. And then for the Philadelphia fans, all them Georgia players. And I heard the draft, and everybody said, oh, man, I want that Ringo. I said, man, Ringo was getting his butt torched. Ohio State.
We going too far into the weeds now, Marv. Hey, look, appreciate the breakdowns on our guys, though, Marv. Yeah,
bro. But like I said, Mozzie, we thank you. We need you. Let's go.
My God.
Let's go, brother.
Let's go.
Sir.
All right, Marv. We'll talk to you later this week.
All right. I see y'all later today.
Yeah, we be on. I ain't gonna be on too long though, cause got a function I gotta get to here, down in Fort Worth. But I'll be on though, man. Nah, I ain't gonna get. Y'all couldn't hear what he said. Nah, I ain't getting dappered up, man. No. Actually, the exact opposite of that. We going to the WWE Raw. I always try to go when they're around the way. I try to come see them, and it's the draft. It's their draft today, one of their days. So we're gonna go to that. But hey man, look, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying there is some upside to Mozzie being a dual guy. Now he's 1 tech, 3 tech. He's not 3 tech, 1 tech. I don't know, man. I think this quickness is underrated. I think he was not given the chance to showcase that. And it all depends what they want to do from a scheme standpoint, which is why, again, I'll load the clip tomorrow when we talk about it. But it sounds like they are not going into this, hey, man, we're just going to do all these stunts and try to get access to the backfield in that way. They're going to try to hold up these defensive tackles, try to get these linebackers free. And that's something Ozzy does. That's something Ozzy does. He has the athleticism, and I think the quickness when he's allowed to showcase it to do 3 tech things. We've always viewed him as 1 tech to be able to do 3 tech things. But maybe it's just me. Maybe it's the homer in me. It's the fan in me that is envisioning Mozzie next to Hankins in my base. And boy, allowing these running backs to run free and that pocket just collapsing on the interior. And these defensive ends being able to get some free access. Just daydreaming. That's all. I'm just daydreaming, man. But great show today, yo. Good calls, good chat. Do me a favor. If you can, hit the like button if you enjoyed today's show. Subscribe if you are a new viewer. And if you want to figure out how to contribute to the show via Super Chats, what I'm going to read here in a second, or via the chat in general, you got to be a subscriber. You got to be a subscriber. All right. I saw some super chats coming through, but I wanted to get through the calls and whatnot. Yeah, it was a good bit of them. So let's get through these super chats before we get up out of here. And I do some more work. Boom, there we go. All right, so we got Towboat Ty.
Super chat.
Drop one earlier. Deuce going to chunk the deuce when he burns defenses. You would think that'd be one of his moves, right? Throwing up the deuce, but he got this kind of cool thing where he goes like this. I kind of like that one a little bit better. It ain't quite the Zeke feed me, but I don't know what's behind that, but I like it. I like that celebration a little bit. Andre Robinson.
Super chat.
Drop one said, I wish Fayoko stayed at DE. I mean, he hasn't moved yet. He has the potential to replace D-Law at left end with his hand fighting skills. Plus, he's much bigger. That was what I thought he was going to be. That's why I was in the middle of tweeting, hey, this might be a D-Law replacement. And they're like, we want to move him inside. But nothing is solidified yet. Maybe he comes in and he shows off some skills on the outside to be able to take D-Law's spot in a year or two.
Super chat.
Vertically challenged game from King Element. Yes, sir.
Super chat.
Tobo dropped another one, said Vaughn's going to show out because he's going to have to prove himself because people are going to say he only get the job because of his dad. Well, I didn't think of people saying that, but that's messed up if you do. I mean, just watch the dude play. He can get him the job, but he has to keep the job. I don't think he got him a job. I don't think it was a feel-good story, though, Tobo. I really do think that my man earned the right to be drafted and get a shot in the league. He earned that. Grant says,
Super chat.
I called the Fayoko pick last week in the Super Chat. How we not take Torrance in the second? Well, we kind of were explaining that earlier, Grant, if you haven't. There are character issue concerns with Osiris Torrance from a work ethic standpoint and coachability standpoint. So I'm pretty sure that's why he was gone. Grande Poppy drop one. Sky, who's your favorite undrafted free agent?
Super chat.
We will get to that. I'm looking at Bass right now. Isaiah, is it Land? I feel like I've been wanting to say Sand, but Isaiah Land, the FAMU pass rusher, obviously Lipke. I mean, there's some quality guys that got out there, but I haven't went through all 20 just quite yet, so I can't give you a real answer on that one. All right. With that said, man, I mean, good stuff today. Let me go back through here and see what y'all talking about. Okay, it's a ski mask celebration, says Yan. That makes sense, putting the ski mask. I like that better. I'd rather him keep that. Aztec not feeling some of the casuals in the chat. Peasy say who's Fargo. So if you're new here, he is mostly, I don't know. Sometimes he feel like he a troll to me, There's days he's not. There's days like this where if he's pissed off, he's just going off in the chat on all y'all. And I just be like, look, man, if it was an issue, the mods will handle it. So apparently he ain't going too crazy today. Can we at least get 50%? Well, oh yeah, appreciate you, Rolo. Hit the like button if you can, if you enjoy it. TJ Bass is the offensive lineman I think I'm talking about. I have not watched all of his film just quite yet, but he stood out, his physicalness, and when I was doing some research, so I'm like, let me go dive a little deeper on Bass. Charles Buzz says, if Mozzie stops the run, it's an A+ pick. Yes. Oscar says, better wrestler, Mr. Perfect or Rick Rude? Better character, Rick Rude. Better wrestler, Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect was, you heard his name. He was a technician in that ring. All is well. Drop one on the way out. Said, could we trade Turpin? I suppose, if somebody is looking to offer day 3 pick for him. But I doubt that'd be the case because they probably feel like you can get a returner for free. That's all. All right, man, y'all stood in here, man. About 900, almost 1,000 deep on YouTube, 1,000 total with YouTube and Facebook. Appreciate y'all today. Great show. Tomorrow we'll begin our first part of the on the clock. That's done. Of our rating the draft series. If you haven't been a part of that just yet, I think you'll enjoy it. I find it my favorite series to do the entire football season. So check that out. We'll start with Mozzie Smith. We'll break them down from top to bottom. It'll be a good one. And then throughout the week, we got a guest on Thursday, which will be a weekly thing. And we'll try to get some of these reporters in here, too, to kind of get behind the scenes of how some of these picks came to happen. All right? With that said, I'm going to press this button. Appreciate y'all. Come back later. I'll be on live a little bit with Vach. Maybe an hour. Then I got to get going. I got to get down to the footwork. But we'll be reviewing this class as well. And, of course, all the other fantastic content creators that did a good job. Make sure y'all check them out. Be out of here. Peace.
Bomb Squad!